Pre-loved, resold. We're diving into the business that's turning a few bank accounts into a frenzy to grab previously owned luxury items. Let's uncover how media personality Shayne Castrillo, owner of Shayne's Curated Luxuries, is building a booming resale empire.
That's what SCL is all about, sustainability and circular fashion. Fast fashion is so big nowadays, but it really hurts our planet. When they see themselves wearing designer brands, they feel good, the confidence is there.
We are now open for business.
It is a signal to the world. We are open for business.
The world of luxury is changing. In the Philippines, pre-loved designer bags, watches, and accessories are no longer just collector's items. They're a booming business. As more Filipinos aspire an affluent lifestyle and embrace sustainability and value, entrepreneurs are capitalizing on a growing demand for authenticated second-hand luxury. Tonight, we explore the delicate art of luxuries resale, how trust is built with sellers and buyers, how to curate rare pieces, and how something used is turned into something timeless and profitable. This isn't just a story about fashion, it's a lesson in building a business rooted in authenticity, sustainability, and smart value. Please welcome Shayne Castrillo, media personality and owner of Shayne's Curated Luxuries, or SCL. How are you, Shayne?
So nice to be here and open for business. I'm so glad that you've invited me and to be here and share the stories of my business.
Okay, thank you for coming, Shayne. But, my first question before we go into the details, bakit nga ba gusto ng mga Pinoy ang designer labels? What's in a designer label? Especially, diba, when you go to selected stores,
yes,
or even when Filipinos travel abroad,
yes,
they look for designer labels. Bakit ba?
Yes.
Ano bang meron sa designer label? Pangalan lang naman yan.
Yes.
Sinasabi ng iba. Go ahead, Shayne.
This is my opinion, no? Sir, for me kasi, people nowadays, especially Filipinos, they tend to be, and I'm not saying all, but they tend to be a bit more superficial when it comes to what they are wearing. So for example, if they see people wearing designer brands, they kind of feel like good for themselves. Not only that, at the same time, it gives them the confidence to showcase to these people na I'm wearing something that is actually a designer brand. But of course, some will not agree in what I'm saying, but this is what I've noticed as a luxury reseller.
There's pride in it as well.
Exactly.
You feel good. You make
good.
yourself feel good. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. For example, this is based on my clients. They would love to have something that they have, wala pa sila before. So they ask me, Shayne, what can I get na hindi naman mabubutas yung bulsa ko, or something that. And I always tell them, why don't you go pre-owned, secondhand, which is actually something that what SCL offers and other luxury sellers offers as well. And for these people, when they see themselves wearing designer brands, they feel good, the confidence is there.
I agree with you, Shayne, because sometimes, especially if it's pre-owned, yun naman ang pagkakaiba pag designer brands, kasi yung quality nandun pa rin, di ba? Siyempre, meron din mga local products na talagang matibay talaga, di ba? Pero normally, these brands, since they show quality, they show craftsmanship, kahit nakailang pasa ng henerasyon yan, hindi pa sira, di ba?
Yes, that's true.
So, yun ba, sinasabi rin yun ng mga clients mo na parang when they talk of quality, the length of the ownership, minsan mas matagal or mas classic yung design, di ba? Mas gusto nila?
Yes, I've encountered a lot of clients who actually gear into getting mga vintage pieces because history speaks for itself and the craftsmanship is very good. You really would see the fine detail and how it was made, kung gaano siya katibay, and it lasts. And it's true because some of those items are really vintage pieces. They would go back 1950s,
Wow.
like way back.
Na maayos pa, maganda
But
pa.
then, yes, and it was well preserved. Sometimes you wouldn't know that this was actually purchased or was made, created years back, decades back, and still in excellent condition. So it's really, good
Wow,
for
that-
the price and for the those who want to look good at the same time.
Wow, that's good to know, Shayne. But before we continue this conversation, I would just like to read this research. It says here, the Philippines luxury goods market size reached $2.88 billion. Hindi ito pesos, ha? Dollars in 2024. And looking forward, this research group expects the market to reach $4.39 billion by 2033, exhibiting a growth rate of 4.4% during 2025 to 2033. And the market is driven by rising disposable incomes, a growing affluent middle class, and increasing demand for premium fashion, accessories, and cosmetics. Expanding retail infrastructure, e-commerce growth, and tourism also boost sales. At tulad na napag-usapan natin, sabi dito, brand-conscious consumers and social media influence further fuel market expansion with international luxury brands gaining strong traction. Can you react to that? Nararamdaman mo rin ba na talagang lumalaki yung merkado nito ng luxury items kahit na we're being sensitive as well, kahit na may pagbaha, dumadami din yung mga luxury goods. As a matter of fact, katatapos lang ng auction ng cars ng mga personalidad na nasa balita, di
Yes,
ba?
that's correct.
Pero may bumili, di ba?
Yes.
We never thought na, ay, mahal yan. Parang they won't buy that. No. Nobody will buy that, but there are bidders.
That is very correct because I've noticed as a seller, I think it actually brought more chances for the luxury resale platform to boom recently, especially when people are actually sad or depressed or going into difficult times. Like the online selling or luxury resale platform have increased during the pandemic times.
Okay.
Which would you wonder, bakit ganon? Because we're going through a difficult time, but suddenly people are buying.
Yes.
Consumers are getting more stuff. And then you would think, but one research that I've read also, sir, is that this takes away their anxiety. This takes away their depression. This takes away the fear of what's happening around their country. So for them, it actually makes them feel good. Sumasaya sila to go and check this. Not also like what I've said earlier, na this makes them feel good, but at the same time, it's something to show that still Filipinos find ways to be more resilient in different things, like maybe buying a second-hand makes them feel good. It's okay. It doesn't matter. As long as it makes you feel good, hindi ako naapektuhan of the negative things that we hear that's happening in our country.
Since you mentioned about the pandemic, nagtuloy-tuloy ba from online, and then after the pandemic, dire-diretso na siya?
Yes, kasi before, the luxury resale platform was already big, but there comes a time that, of course, we cannot go out eh. So people are only watching online.
Yeah.
They don't have anything to do. Everybody's relying on the internet. So that's where the online selling came in. People cannot go out. They cannot go shop because lockdown eh. So they can only do is check on the internet, check on their phones, tingnan nila yung mga binibenta and say, okay, this will ease out my anxieties and fears. Some naman would think na, you never know how long will I last. I'll just buy
Correct,
something that I want.
And whether you are rich or poor, di ba? You have
Yes.
the same, you are both locked down.
Lockdown
Okay.
and that's also, I think, where the majority of the people tend to go to buy pre-loved items because they don't have access to go to the store. So they tend to buy pre-owned second-hand items.
Speaking of second-hand, so here's another data. The Asia-Pacific second-hand luxury goods market size reached 8.6 billion in 2024. Dollars again ito. Looking forward, this group, the research group, expects the market to reach 17.9 billion by 2023, exhibiting a growth rate of 8.09% during 2025 to 2023. Isa dito, yung sinasabing dahilan ay yung pagtaas ng middle class. So, napansin mo rin ba yun, Shayne, na yung buyers, hindi na lang AB market. There's category,
Yes.
AB, upper C, lower C, DE market. Pero tumataas daw yung buying power ng middle class. Is that what you notice, na yung clients mo ngayon hindi na lang AB market, a regular worker who maybe works at a call center in BGC, government employee can buy luxury items now?
Yes, I've noticed that. I've had clients who come to me and go contact us, and they would ask me, Miss Shayne, do you have something for me? And they'll be very specific. This is my budget. And I would be like, okay, this is what we have. This is what I can offer you. And then they'll go select from that. I think it's also like what I was saying earlier, that they want to feel good, that probably that's their first luxury item. Probably that's something that would make them feel, I don't want to say belong because that sounds not too superficial, but sometimes then people naman nowadays tend to look really from, they judge the book by its cover sometimes at how you look, but it's also how you present yourself. That's why I think buying pre-owned for this middle class, they have paved ways for them to really buy this type of because it's affordable. Sometimes pa nga I have different sellers, or also me doing it myself, I do offer layaway. This is my thinking. Some cannot afford to buy it in cash straight away, and that's understandable. But they want the item. And that's also understandable because maybe they want to have that to make them feel happy, or probably that's their stems out when they were from their childhood that I would really want something like that. And now they were working, siguro gusto nila magkaroon ng ganon. So we also offer like layaway programs for those who want to purchase something na hindi nila kayang ibigay in cash, but hulog-hulugan in terms of...
Wow, that's interesting. What inspired you to start a pre-loved luxury business? I'm sure ikaw, the way you look and present yourself, ay hindi ka pang pre-loved. Talagang ikaw yung brand new. So,
No po.
pero ano yung nag-inspire sa'yo na magkaroon ng ganitong negosyo?
I've been doing this since 2011, and started because I wanted, after I gave birth to my son, I'm a single mom, so I was thinking, what can I do, of course, to also, do something besides staying at home as a stay-at-home mom, at least something to earn. And then I started selling pre-owned clothing on a selling platform as well, and that already paved way to where I was now. So that's how I started. Since 2011, nag-start pa lang ako post ng mga clothes for sale. And this is funny. One thing to share with you guys is that this is actually from thrift stores. And I would not be so, to say that, because you can find a lot of very good things or very good finds on a thrift store. And I was very proud of it. Kasi nowadays, sir, people are looking down because when they say thrift store, secondhand. And that's also one of the things that really gives the impression that it's not good to use something thrift store. Because here in the Philippines, when you say thrifting, it says ukay-ukay, diba? But that's not how it works. Ukay-ukay is derived from the word you go halukay, diba?
Okay.
From all the stuff of the item that's placed there.
Halukayin mo.
That
Kaya
what's
naging ukay.
Yes, that's what's ukay
Although siyempre
means.
nag-graduate na, sabi niya, UK yan.
UK,
Galing
yes.
United Kingdom yan.
Yeah, but that's how it all started. So I would remember vividly, me and my dad would go to these places and we'll find, several items that I would post and sell. And it works, and then some of my old stuff that I've not been using, I'd go post as well.
Shayne, that's very impressive because somehow you showed the resilience of a woman, diba? Parang you wanted to raise your child, and instead of being employed, you transformed yourself into an entrepreneur,
Yes.
which is a good thing,
Thank
diba?
you.
Pero Shayne, nung nag-uumpisa ka pa lang, paano mo pinalawak ang mga items mo? How did you source your inventory? And where do your consignments come from? Is it from local sellers, overseas? Ano ba yung mga sources mo?
When I've started, I buy from local sellers here in the Philippines. Then I get some stuff also from friends. Nagko-consign sila ng items sa akin. Shayne, would you like this to sell? So, sure. And then I'll put a little markup. And then those are the people that they don't want to be known that they're selling their items. So they just do consignments or they just want to unload their stuff that's not being used. On my platform, that's where they pass it on me and then I sell it for them. Now that the business is doing good naman, so far, I slowly started the venture and sourcing from Japan and other countries as well.
Why Japan? Mas mababa ba ang taripa doon? Or mas madali bang magnegosyo doon? Or do you also travel there frequently?
Japan kasi, if you would all know, no, they are so big on selling pre-owned luxury items. So this goes back way, way long time ago. And Japanese people are known to be very careful to what they sell. Di ba nga when they say, when it comes from Japan, it's all authentic. People would always say that.
And high
had that
quality.
notion. And high quality. At the same time, even if it's pre-owned, it's really still pristine condition. So you get them at a, understandably priced na okay naman sa budget, but at the same time, maganda rin yung quality nila. From the longest time that I've gone there and traveled to Japan and also met and have business partners there as well, I've noticed how very, professional and how very maalaga sila sa gamit. They usually have this what you call the very minimalist, diba? So what they don't use, they sell. And then sometimes they haven't used it, binibenta na nila na sa atin, mapapakinabangan pa natin. So even electronics, a lot of things, even makeups, bits and bobs, a lot, you can find there. And then it would be surprising to see how very beautiful and immaculate condition pa yung kanilang mga talagang for sale, which is pre-owned pa to, ha? So nakakatuwa.
Okay, that's nice. That's why may mga kilala ako na may mga alam na talagang bilihan doon.
Yes.
Di ba? Napupuntahan mo lang. Now, alam natin, Miss Shayne, na may mga ibang, I'll use this term, na bubudol. Diba? Kasi parang ako sabi nila, authentic yan, pero hindi naman pala authentic. Lalo na online, di ba?
Yes.
There's a lot of scams there, there's a lot of fake items. Gaano ka-importante yung tiwala or trust? Was building trust or authenticity or valuation a big challenge in the beginning? How did you address it? Nakaranas ka rin bang ng ganon?
Yes, Mr. Cesar, and yes, it happened to me as well. And like what you were asking me earlier, when it comes to how do we avoid that, there are times that we really can't avoid it, That's why we have to be really diligent. There's a lot of third-party luxury authenticators now there that are professional in their field on authenticating items. Now, based on my experience, it happened to me so many times.
Sa iyo personally?
Yes, sir. It happened to me so many times. And
so paano yun? Parang binili mo, how did you learn na it's fake pala?
I sold it already, and then the client would come back to me and would tell me it's a counterfeit, and I would be surprised. And that also would hurt my business. But I think the very important thing here as a seller is to really show accountability. What I usually do is I really make sure to coordinate with the person and I really talk to them and explain to them what happens. And if I had to rectify the situation right away because that's the business that brings food to the table sa aking family. And I've already explained to them that it happens to everyone. No matter how diligent you are, Sir Cesar, in this kind of business, you really have to study more and learn more. And that's why I'm thankful also there's a lot of third-party authenticators now here in the Philippines and also based abroad that would actually teach you on how to identify a fake from the real ones. But kahit ako po, from the longest time I've been a seller, I would not be afraid to say, minsan nangyayari pa din sa akin. And I'll feel bad at times because it has a negative impact, but the only thing I can do is be accountable for it. I won't just say, sorry, it is what it is. But no, you have to really be there and make sure to really rectify the situation right away.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good insight and learning from you, Shayne, here, because with the many instances where consumers are tricked, and especially with the scams, with the fraudulent items that they receive, as you mentioned, that's very painful. But with failures, since you said it happened to you, hindi ka na-give up. You had to correct it and continue. Kasi yung iba siguro baka na peke, wala na, parang ayaw na, 'di ba? Na nanghina na yung loob nila na ituloy ang negosyo. Ikaw, what made you continue na parang you said to yourself, I have to go on or else I'll change careers or I'll change my business model. What was that turning point naman sa'yo na parang hindi, nilalaban ko pa rin to?
There was a time that I had to go through a rough patch in the business where one of my business partners, we end up badly. And for a moment, I was really depressed because my business, went down for a while. And then I had to start it on my own, And then limited capital, that's also a problem for me. I'm just glad that there are people out there, you know who you are, that really have helped and gave a helping hand to me to help me really still go through and just make sure that I can build it up again. I think that's where we are talking about the resilience of the Filipinos, and like me. And then I hear a lot of things that before Cesar was selling a lot of bags, and then this bad breakup with the business partner had happened. I lost mostly everything, and I had to pay all. So I turned into selling garments, which I was doing naman prior, but then of course you elevate yourself, right? And then I go back to garments, and then people were saying like, oh, she went back to garments and all that, which for them parang feeling mo yung na-demote, diba? But at the end of the day, I'm thinking it's not going to help me because this is what feeds my family. Plus, it's my passion. So even up to now, like with what I'm doing, that I still have my business, and there are still some issues and problems arises. One thing that I assure them, I always take accountability. I always answer to those that I need to, and I make sure to really deliver the best to my clients in a way that they can still go to me and trust me again that it was probably one of a mishap lang, diba? And you can't really be sure of things. That's why there's always a continuous learning on how to improve the business.
You talked about authentication. So paano ba yung pag-authenticate? How do you handle authentication in-house, or do you have specialist authenticators? So can this be done by both you and by the consumer who buys it? At paano ba ginagawa yon? Before or after? Kasi minsan, yung iba nabili na, saka pa-authenticate,
Yes.
diba? Ikaw ba, anong ginagawa mo? Pinapa-authenticate mo muna bago mo bilhin, and then possible din ba na yung buyer na bili na niya, ipapa-authenticate niya pa sa third party naman?
Yes, that's also possible. In my business, I do have a own authentication device that it can actually, this is for bags, but it actually determine if it's a counterfeit or not. So we use that on our business for bags. Now, since we're also selling garments and shoes, because our SCL is like a one-stop shop, we're also into relying on the third-party online authenticators that have more knowledge authenticating this kind of items. For example, garments and shoes. So, like what you mentioned earlier, sir, na there are really clients that even if there's authentication already, they would still go through another authenticator just to make sure that the bag they purchase is real. Because they have the worry na because of the counterfeit goods are already rampant nowadays. And they're so good that you cannot determine anymore if it's real or not. So,
kopyang-kopya.
Yeah, kopyang-kopya. So for them to assure, just to make them feel good themselves, sometimes I would tell them we can authenticate it for you, or you have for your peace of mind, authenticate it on your preferred authenticator.
Going to this authenticity, kasi kayong mga sanay na, unang tingin nyo pa lang sa bag, halimbawa, sa bag, alam nyo nang, ay, peke ito. Some people who are not into designer brands or designer labels do not have that capacity. Pero sa inyo, na mga sanay na, ano yung mga factors na tinitingnan nyo, if you can name some of them? Like say, for example, Kunyari, leather. Sa amoy pa lang daw, alam nyo na.
Smelling is also one of the most important things that people are doing right now. When we get a bag, we smell it first, and then we know if it's off. And the stitching is very Although kasi they also said there are. And then this is when I went to some stores. There's also some things because some bags are really hand stitched. So the accuracy also with the stitching is di pa rin siya gawa talaga na But if you go to really luxury brands, the stitching is very different. The hardware that was used, the zippers. It's you would really notice. It's
The
like
locks,
when
may mga locks
when
siya.
you know the lock and those little things. For garments, it's the zippers, the labeling. You would notice that And for shoes, for shoes because I'm fond of shoes, I would easily know from the fonts itself. Kasi you
yung
could
font,
also really see the
Kumbaga
fonts.
yung laki ng font,
Parang wait
o
lang,
mali ba
parang
yun?
iba diba? So you would know immediately. These are the telltale signs. However, you cannot be so sure of that. That's why we still rely to get a professional authenticator to authenticate these things. Because, I can only look at it by looking. The pictures can tell so much, but they don't really, say a lot. That's why sometimes it's nice to have that item there and then really scrutinize it or use a authentication platform to really check if it's legit or not.
Ito naman, usapang presyo. Paano mo nadidesisyonan ang pagpresyo ng items? May isang luxury seller abroad na ang specialty niya ay yung pang super high-end na bag. At pag magpepresyo na, lagi niya sasabihin, I'll share with my team and come back to you how much. What factors go into valuing a pre-loved piece?
I can't speak for other sellers. For me, what I do is how much I actually purchase the item. It really depends. If mababa ko nakuha the item, if it's really a good deal and it's still in pristine condition, I would price it based on how I can actually sell it na katanggap-tanggap dun sa mga consumers. But at the same time, mababawi ko na. Kasi I have overhead expenses. I have people who works for me, the packaging, miscellaneous stuff that I have to pay. So that also has to take into account. So it really depends on the brand kung ano yung market price nila ngayon, especially if it's a second hand. Because there are specific brands, Mr. Cesar, na hindi siya, when you resell it, the price really goes down. Like you mentioned, the brand H, it's really one of the, hindi siya bumababa. It's like they say, it's an investment.
Tsaka parang parang lupa yun. Totoo
Yes,
ba yun?
totoo.
Nag-appreciate, hindi siya nag-depreciate.
Yes, but there are some brands that actually depreciate when you use them already. Depende sa brands.
And sa usage din,
And sa
makikita
usage, yes. Even if it's still brand new, you can't really resell them at a very high price. They can't compete on the other top-tier high-end brands because they just cannot. And the resale value and the second-hand market is really low. So those are the things on my end na iniiwasan ko. I'm trying to select the items to sell because if I see that the second-hand price is cheaper, I cannot put a markup on it anymore. But I have people, they have to try to understand that I have people relying on me, my workers, my expenses and all that. So it should be a balance as well at the same time.
Kala nila binibili mo lang, pagka nabili mo, you put a markup in there and then tapos na. But, di ba, businesses have costs. What are the major costs in running a luxury resale business locally? Ano pa ba yung mga dapat malaman na pagkakagastusan sa negosyo, lalo na kapag magtatayo ng luxury resale business?
Like for example, sa bags, there are bags, of course, it's pre-owned. When I get them, sometimes they are in pristine condition, sometimes they are not. That's why we bring them to a bag spa to get some of the edges retouched.
Wow.
That's an added cost.
Added cost
to make it look beautiful on garments.
So parang sasakyan din, di ba? Minsan,
Yes.
pag magbebenta ka ng sasakyan, siyempre, ipaano mo muna. Sometimes, ipaparipaint mo muna, di ba? O kaya, bibilan mo ng magandang gulong.
For garments, we also have this, of course, it's pre-owned. When we get it, Mr. Cesar, it's not washed, it's not washed. There are stains because, of course, it's been used. They just hang it there and that's it. And I don't want to sell something that That's like that. Na parang isipin ng client ko, you're selling na nga pre-owned. And then you're going to give me something na ganito pa yung itsura.
Pati yung amoy niya pre-owned din.
Yes. The value for the money. So what I do, I'm very stringent when it comes to getting it dry clean. If the clothes needs to be dry clean, it's going to arrive to my clients as dry clean,
And
ready
there
to
are
wear.
specific conditions din ng dry cleaning, di ba?
Yes.
Depende dun sa, they have to look at the label as well, di ba? Kasi some the fabrics are very delicate.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Very delicate. So we really have to make sure. I'm telling them na I'm telling my staff na please read the label. If it's meant to be dry clean, it needs to be dry clean. Now that's the price they paid for. So I always tell my clients this item can't be shipped immediately because we have a turnaround time because we always bring them to the cleaners pa. For shoes, I even go to shoe cobbler kasi to make them more looking nicely. If there's angat-angat in the rubber, konting needs ng tahe, I make sure na igagawin ko na yun sa kanila or yung takong nila medyo may I'll have it
May chip,
changed. May
ganyan.
chip, I'll have it changed. So those are the other expenses that consumers don't see behind the
Yeah.
scenes. That they think na you get it as you buy it. No, because at the end of the day, those sellers that value their consumers would think that way. Na I don't want this to be shipped naman to them that it's looking really parang talaga namang hindi ka nais-nais. Of course, they would complain. And at the end of the day, if they complain, they would insist to return the merchandise. And we don't want that in our business. So as much as
Yes.
possible, we want to make sure to deliver it as good as it is. Na kahit luma, it looks like brand new. Yeah.
But Shayne, mas mahal ba kapag yung gamit, like it could be a bag, andun yung original box, andun yung original tags, andun yung original na supot, andun yung origin. Mas mahal ba yun?
Not necessarily, but it adds value because sometimes client would always want to say, I want to resell it again. And it adds a point because nandun pa yung resibo, nandun pa yung complete packaging, and then people would say, okay, it's complete. It comes with a box, with a ribbon, and the cards and all that, compared to you're just selling a bag, hand it over to them. So there's a slight difference, not too big, but slight difference into the price. But mostly clients kasi now, they're very anal when they say, I want it with the box and with the with these things and all the bits and bobs there na mga abubot. Ako, Mr. Cesar, even I purchased the bag without the inclusions, I have to buy separately just to make them happy. So I know people who sell boxes.
Siyempre gusto nila parang may box din.
Gusto nila may box. Ano bang gagawin sa box? Sige, go! Diba? Go na lang!
Hindi ganun kasimple yung
No,
business
it's
na yan. It's
not.
not like the usual buy and sell na
No.
parang lang, kumbaga I buy this, you sell it, parang ganun.
There's
Hindi
a lot
ganun.
happening behind the scenes. Little
Okay.
did they know.
Who are the typical buyers of these luxury items? Socioeconomic class, nasa ABC market na sila. But in terms of age, in terms of work, how do you describe a typical buyer of pre-loved luxury items?
Nowadays, Mr. Cesar, I've noticed on my business, the age range of the clients that purchase from me, the consumers, are actually 40 up. Actually, I have a lot of clients around 50, 60. And sa kakatuwa, no? I don't know if the old people likes me, but they always come to me, Miss Shayne, I want something like this. And I see a number of doctors, I see a number of professionals also who adores now buying pre-owned. Then I have a lot of celebrity clients as well. But sometimes they don't want to be named because they want to say, don't say I'm using pre-owned. Okay, I won't. Ganun
Okay,
lang
tama,
ako.
tama,
And
tama.
then other workers who's like working in a call center or working in the bank, yan, mga number one yan, working in the bank, and other private sectors that enjoy, these luxury goods na hindi naman ganun kamahal, but, would make them happy naman. They're very honest din naman, Mr. Cesar. They'd say, I cannot afford that muna, that brand, maybe this brand lang, which is, I would really tailor it to their needs na, okay, you can't afford that, this is what we have right now. And then, maglalambing, can I have a discount? And I've been there and I don't have those before. So now you kind of feel like you're in their shoes. Now you want something that you can't afford. Now you want them to experience it. So parang, okay, why not? Sige ma'am, you go ahead. I'll give it to you at that price.
So parang may nilalakip ka na rin na advocacy doon na parang sige, para naranasan ko yung yung experience, gustong-gusto mo talaga. Parang you make people happy na rin. So parang gano'n. So the more that, I hope you will continue to be successful so that you can make people happy as well. Okay. Ito, what motivates, although you responded to this earlier, what motivates them to buy pre-loved luxury items rather than the brand new? Is sustainability or circular fashion, I think sa'yo ko narinig yung circular fashion, a main consideration for them? Do you consider this, is sustainability or circular fashion one of your advocacies, and what is that motivation for them to buy pre-loved luxury items?
Yes, for me, that's what SEL is all about, sustainability and circular fashion. Meaning something that, a used item that can be reused again. That's why it's called circular. You go in motions of going around. These items can be passed on again to the next generation. Why? Because if you buy something that is actually, for example, brand new, and then versus the pre-owned luxury item, doesn't matter. If it's still usable, of course, I would tell my clients, why go brand new? Just use na lang second hand. Actually, it's not as new as it gets, but it's still in excellent condition. And people wouldn't know anyway. It really depends on paano mo dadalhin. I think it really depends on how also we market the sustainability and circular fashion. I think I have to go back to the first one where how I started, that and I'm proud to tell that, Mr. Cesar, that I started really getting from thrift stores and really scrutinizing each and every item, because that's where sustainability starts. Fast fashion is so big nowadays, but it really hurts our planet. Involving fashion, why not wear something that's already been there? You just have to wash it. Hindi ka naman maarte. People wouldn't know anyway. Nandito naman ako para tahiin yung mga butas-butas dyan, si Cesar. It's true though, Mr. Cesar. We really have to bring it sometimes po sa, I have seamstress to really, if the buttons are a bit loose, we just have to reinforce it. We really go that lengths to make sure that sustainability is there and the circular fashion still stays there, that even if they buy pre-owned, hindi sila mahihiyang gamitin. And that's a big, I think, classification now that people are learning nowadays, especially consumers now, with what's going on with our country. People gearing on to using secondhand. Actually, I've seen a lot of clients now selling their brand new stuff to make cash, but then buy pre-owned instead. And that's funny, right? They sell their brand new items.
Ganon,
yes, they sell their brand new. Shayne, please sell this brand new item. And then, okay, ma'am, and then bilhin ko na lang yung pre-owned. They get cash, but they'll buy a cheaper one, and people wouldn't notice anyway. So it's actually where you can see that what's happening right now in financial in our country also affects those consumers right now, that they have to really suss out their money.
Pero ano yung mas mabilis na nabebenta? Bags, watches, accessories, what?
For me kasi, it depends on the client eh. For me, the garments are really a strong point on my business. It's the garments. Comes secondary and bags and shoes. I'm not into watches. I sell watches from time to time, but I'm not really into selling them.
Meron talaga yung specialty na yun.
Yes, there are luxury sellers out there that are big also, who are into selling watches, selling the top-tier brands like the H brands, and then other brands as well. I do mix it. I'm a one-stop shop of all brands that they want to find.
Wow.
So yeah, but there are several that are into jewelries or watches also.
Okay, what about pieces which are not sold? Do you return them, discount it, or what do you do? Or you just use it yourself na lang? So
if
what do
it's
you
my
do?
size.
Okay.
No, but for those like this end of the year, we do a end of the year sale. Once in a while, we do a big sale of prices marked down as 80%.
Wow.
Those are also one of things that we do. Meron pa rin times na marami pa rin natitira, but sometimes at the end of the day, I just want to dispose it all. I'll sell them by bulk, or I'll just like bundle it and sell it at a cheaper price.
Now, Miss Shayne, gusto mo rin mag-expand? Do you have plans of diversification as well? Like say, for example, we know that the online business, the digital space business in the Philippines is really booming. And I'm sure entrepreneurs like you sa inyo, nag-iisip na kayo, ano pa ba ang magandang negosyo tungkol dito? Palalakihin mo ba?
One of the things that I was thinking, because it's very important also to diversify the business, because there's a lot of online sellers nowadays po. No? It's already saturated. We're overly saturated. And some of them, yung mga bata pa, and they're so good in content marketing strategies. So parang
lalo na sa TikTok. Di ba? Kaya may TikTok shop.
Yes,
diba?
and I'll be like, these kids, they're so good in doing this content marketing strategies. One of those that I was thinking as well to diversify the business is to have some of the clothes that I have rented. Why rented? Because clothes that doesn't have the need to be worn every day. For example, winter clothes. My clients would want to buy a winter clothes because they're going to a cold country. They're going to, I don't know, Korea, Japan, and they want to say, but they can't use it here in the Philippines.
Yes, so pag suot dito, wala na.
Wala na.
So minsan isang gamitan pag ganyan.
so-
Especially if you travel once a year lang.
Yes, so I was thinking to actually open as well a rent where they can actually rent the clothing. Kasi you can rent gowns, di ba, if you have a special affairs. I also have gowns, but mostly yung mga clothes na they just want to wear on a shoot. They want to wear on the event. They want to wear on a certain, I don't know, travel that they need a thick. And if they buy it from me, they would come back to me, can you resell this again for me because I have no use of it? And then I said, why not think of parentahan ko? At least you can rent it, but at the same time, you don't have the need to buy it. And no matter how you only stay there for 10 days, use it for 10 days, just make sure you bring it back to me still in one piece, good condition.
Yeah.
Then I was thinking also of those things. A lot of things to think about. And hopefully next year it'll be happening.
Wow, that's good to know. What have been the biggest lessons you've learned so far as an entrepreneur in the resale space?
I think you have to know your market. That's the very important thing for me, especially when it comes to a resale. Because to know your consumers, you have to know them by heart. So you know what to offer them. You have to study
So
them.
marami ka ring repeat customers.
Yes, I do. Thankfully, luckily, even if sometimes we do have love and hate relationship, at the end of the day, would come back to me after a few months. Hi, Miss Shayne. Oh, ma'am, you hear you're going on a shopping spree again, and actually makes you feel good also, no? But yes, that's one thing that I always tell, that you really have to know your consumers, your clients, and you have to be very particular on the after service as well. I always say that to my staff, that we just don't sell just to make money. We sell because it's from the heart. Some people sell, they buy it, and then if there's a reklamo, they won't talk to the client anymore. And I don't want that. I don't want that. There are times also na my staff wouldn't be able to answer them immediately, but I always make it to a point that their problems will be addressed. That's a very important thing, accountability. And really, especially on a pre-loved market, because we're selling pre-owned. So at the end of the day, there might be problems that will arise. You just have to be accountable and make sure also to really make sure that the items you sell, regardless if it's pre-owned, make sure when you sell them, it's still in good condition. So naman, the money's worth is still there.
Beautiful response, Miss Shayne. Now, that is your camera. Maraming nanonood, Miss Shayne, ng mga entrepreneurs, small businesses din sa atin. And that is the essence of Open for Business, to give this platform to entrepreneurs, businesses, MSMEs to really promote their business. Ano ang maipapayo mo sa kanila? I know that, based on your experience, you have a lot of pains and challenges and difficulties before you achieved, what you have achieved and be able to build a customer base. What is your advice to MSMEs who are watching Open for Business?
Yes, those who are watching Open for Business, and to those startups who are afraid to, start a business of their own, please po, huwag kayong panghinaan ng loob. I've started there. I've had not much money to start off with, but with, the resilience and being masipag, there's a lot of things around you that if you wanted to sell, go try it. Wala naman pong mawawala. You can post it. There's a lot of platforms there that you can post. You can do an online selling, which is very rampant nowadays. One thing lang po na I have to tell you guys, once you are in there, always take care of your clients, because the clients are the ones who's really going to take care of you. In an essence of, they'll be the ones who's going to support your business all the way through. Just really make sure you love your clients, take care of clients, and really just have the grit to really push forward and succeed in your own terms. You don't have to compete. You don't have to compete with everybody else or doubt yourself because maybe this one is doing good and you might not be doing good. Just focus on yourself, make sure you do your best, and then the rest will follow.
And for people who want to buy pre-loved items, where can they find you, Miss Shayne?
Yes, you can follow our Facebook page. It's Shayne's Curated Luxuries. Please check it out. We also do live selling. My sister is the one who's running it right now. You can see all the items that we're posted there, and just send us a message if you let us know. We have a home studio that you can visit if you want, and just set an appointment, and the rest is history. Let's go shopping. You can also watch me on Net25 Radyo Aguila. My show airs every Sunday. It's 8 in the morning till 9 in the morning. It's called Ngiting Tagumpay. The show talks about, spotlights individuals in all walks of life. So it's a very inspiring show, and I hope you can watch me and join me every Sunday while having your breakfast. Ngiting Tagumpay every Sunday, 8 to 9 in the morning.
That's the owner and founder of Shayne's Curated Luxuries, Miss Shayne Castrillo. Our buzzword of the week is re-commerce. Re-commerce or reverse commerce is the selling of previously owned, new or used products, mainly electronic devices or media such as books, through physical or online distribution channels to buyers who repair if necessary, then reuse, recycle, or resell them. As more Filipinos aspire for a piece of luxury, whether due to social media influence or a genuine desire to own rare pieces that were pre-owned, the pre-loved luxury market in the Philippines is growing. It's an evolving business, one that demands authenticity, savvy sourcing, and a pulse on what buyers value. For entrepreneurs, it's a reminder that even in high-end fashion, used can mean opportunity. And for consumers, it's proof that luxury doesn't always mean brand new. In the world of resale, value is indeed in the eye and the story of the beholder. And with that, our quote of the week is from the CEO of Louis Vuitton. He said, "Luxury goods are the one only area in which it is possible to make luxury margins." Maraming salamat sa iyo, Miss Shayne. Maraming salamat sa isang oras sa pagsama sa amin upang tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang usapan ukol sa negosyo dito lang sa Open for Business. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan nyo kaming muli dito sa Open for Business. Catch us too on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe on our social media page at Net25 TV. We will bring you more insights from industry experts, thought leaders, CEOs, and featured SMEs. Together, let us help encourage business development in the Philippines. Sharpen your business acumen, feel the pulse, and set the trend for as long as you are informed and open for business. Ito po si Cesar Vallejos. Marami pong salamat.